Hello and welcome to this episode of Cardinal Film Fights. I'm your judge, host, and moderator, Mark Rollins. Today, we have a Christmas episode, so no, we're not just dressed up like this for the heck of it, though I have considered doing that, but that's more of an April thing. So anywho, we're going to have a Christmas question today, but before we get to that, let's have our competitors introduce themselves. They're going to give their name, their major, their year, and a fun fact about themselves. And if they don't have a fun fact, we're all for lying. Lying's fun. But here we go. We're going to start with this young man.
Aren't I older than you?
All right, how old are you?
22.
When's your birthday?
September 28th.
Nope, I'm older than you.
Okay, fair enough. Then you have absolutely the right to do that.
Go ahead, Sonny.
Sonny.
All right. Hi, my name is Nick Evans. I'm the president and director of Cardinal Film Fights. I'm a senior telecommunications major. I had to do it twice because it's fun. Fun fact about me, I am not named after Santa Claus or Saint Nick, which Santa Claus is based off of.
Yes, he is. And that's an education. You could take that to the bank, folks. Take that fact to the bank. We'll go on to that person. I actually know that, but I don't want to spoil it for you, so I'm not going to say her name, but I know who it is.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Holbrook. I'm a junior animation major, and a fun fact about me is I first rode a horse when I was 5.
When did you last ride a horse?
Like a month ago.
Oh, wow. I didn't know if that was also 5.
No, that was it. That was it.
All right, and we'll finish it.
My name is Cole Callahan. I am a senior telecommunications student here at Ball State. And a fun fact about me is I despise people that are obsessed with horses.
Oh.
Ouch.
So,
But, creepily obsessed. I've seen
Catherine
where,
the Great
people call their
obsessed?
horses, sexy and stuff. That
Oh,
level.
okay.
That
Okay.
level. Yeah, I wrote a whole article, and I'll send you guys.
So,
please do.
so Catherine the Great obsessed.
Yes.
Look it up for those of you who don't know.
I was going to say people
Yes.
obsessed with horses, so I was like, so cowboys and the entire Wild West.
They don't call him Woody for nothing.
Obsessed with horses.
Obsessed with. Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, today they're going to get into a fight, but before that they're going to have a 1-minute introduction in which they build their case with introducing why they picked what they did. Then they get into a 5-minute forum, which is a free-for-all argument. They build themselves up, tear each other down, and then they finish with a 30-second conclusion in which they take everything that's been said, tied up in a nice, neat little bow, and then I judge them for it and then award them first, second, and third place based on their arguments and conclusions. So, without further ado, let's get to the question, which is best film/TV adaptation of A Christmas Carol.
Has Kim started first?
I don't think she has.
She should start first.
Well, how generous of you, Nick.
It is Christmas.
50 points for Gryffindor. Here we go.
I'm a
Let's
Hufflepuff.
Yeah, so he's up.
Of course you are.
Of course you're Hufflepuff.
No, just
Hufflepuff looking ass.
Go ahead, Kim.
All right, so I believe the best adaptation of A Christmas Carol is Scrooge, the 1988 film starring Bill Murray. And the reason I chose this is because I think it best encapsulates what an adaptation is. It's something that reinvents the old narrative and takes it into a modern context. And so here, Bill Murray is now a TV executive, and he's taught the true meaning of Christmas through those lenses. And instead of going through these old-timey 1800s situations of getting the girl back, it's now revamped in a way that makes sense to our time and is still relatable today. And I think that's what makes it a really strong case for the best adaptation.
All right. Next, we'll go Cole.
My choice for best adaptation would be the 2009 version. It is an animated version. It is animated by the same studio that animated The Polar Express, which I think is exciting given the fact that they both have that level of magical Christmas spirit. And I think any movie that has Jim Carrey as a lead role, I think is a wonderful decision. And I think he is a beautiful person that can play any role, and a Christmas role in particular.
All right. And we'll finish up with Nick.
So, my version of A Christmas Carol is A Muppets Christmas Carol. What is better than taking a timeless Christmas story and one of the most iconic characters to appear in modern American cinema and television in the last 50 years, put the two together, and create something that not only is an excellent adaptation of Charles Dickens' book, but also does something. They put their, as usual, own Muppet twist on it. Gonzo the Great is Charles Dickens with his pal Rizzo the Rat, as he narrates us through the story, which narration is slightly exaggerated. Crazy hijinks ensue per Muppet tradition. Excellent jokes. Fozzie the Bear is Fozziewig, and he runs a rubber chicken factory instead of whatever Fezziwig actually does. And and Michael Caine is Scrooge. So, goodness.
All right. Let's get into the 5-minute forum.
Polar 2009 Christmas Carol. It's creepy, man.
It is
like,
creepy. It
like,
is creepy. It's
like
dark.
it's like it. They do a good job of getting this Victorian feel, but like the animation is so damn creepy. It's hard to look at and not like cringe. And the same can be said of Polar Express. But my other big complaint with A Christmas Carol is Jim Carrey. And it's not that I don't think Jim Carrey can do the role. I just think that if you're going to cast a Scrooge, you either need a British actor like Michael Caine, or you need somebody who has a reputation for playing very angry roles like George C. Scott did in 1964. And so it's just hard to look past. It's hard to look past Jim Carrey's face as Scrooge, and it's hard to just look past the really disturbing animation. And Bill Murray's Scrooged, my problem is that it's not. I'm not saying it's bad, because I don't think any of these three choices are bad. My problem with Scrooge is that, is it really relevant anymore? Like, the Muppets Christmas Carol still gets shown on television. They were advertising it.
Yes, but I think it loses the true spirit of Christmas, where the Muppets is highly slapstick. Of course, that might be their style, but I think it
Do you think it
detracts from
dilutes?
the
Do you think
I
it
don't-
dilutes the
idea.
meaning of
I don't-
Christmas and
no,
the
I don't
magical
think-
spirit of
I
Christmas?
don't think so, because what makes this so different is that when they cast Michael Caine, he said something along the lines of, I'm not going to treat this like there's a bunch of puppets running around the set. I'm going to treat this like a Shakespearean theater adaptation of A Christmas Carol. And he took that role so seriously that when you contrast it with the Muppets and their style, it creates this really unique blend of A Christmas Carol that's not something we've ever really seen before or since. The closest thing I could think of was my number 2 choice, which is Mickey's Christmas Carol.
But at the same time, when you're focused so much on the laughter, I think it detracts from the overall message
But
that
that's
the
the-
Christmas Carol typically
but
holds,
that's
which
the
is
funny
to open your heart to the holiday.
But see, that's
Exactly.
what's unique. That's something else that's different about Muppets, is that Muppets by their very nature are comedic. But I think people tend to forget that the Muppets have serious movies. Muppets Take Manhattan, while it is full of comedy, it is a very serious movie. Christmas Carol's the same way. The dark themes that appear in Christmas Carol in the books and any other adaptation of A Christmas Carol, I would hope, still show up here in Muppets. And they do a lot more with Scrooge's backstory, and they do a lot of the success of this movie can be attributed to two things: Michael Caine as Scrooge, and the fact that they didn't use them, except for Kermit as Bob Cratchit, they did not put the Muppets characters in other major roles. Like, none of the Ghosts of Christmas Past are recognizable Muppets. Otherwise, the Muppet characters are either background or they're just Bob Cratchit or Fozziewig.
So I'm going to interrupt you, Nick. So,
Go for it.
Cole, how do you? What are your rebuttals against Nick's accusations for your version of Christmas Carol?
I understand where he is coming from. It is darker, but I think I like that side of it a little more. Maybe because I like darker films. I don't know.
I'm not saying Christmas Carol, Jim Carrey's Christmas Carol isn't dark. I'm saying it's hard to watch.
And Kim, what's your rebuttal for Scrooged?
I mean, I believe it's still relevant today, but the idea of Scrooge, I think it's a better balance of the comedy where the Muppets take that away, because Scrooged is still labeled as a comedy, and I think that does a better job of still staying true to the message of it without it getting overbearing of all the comedy going on.
I think something that we aren't looking at is what makes our movies strong. Your movie is strong because Bill Murray is in the movie. Your movie is strong because Jim Carrey's in the movie. My movie is strong not only because Michael Caine's in the movie, but because the Muppets are in the movie.
Well, then you've
That's-
just labeled the same issue as we all
No,
have
I'm not
strong lead
I'm-
actors
I'm not
that have
saying,
made it famous.
well, and that's how it
Yeah.
should be. Scrooge should be
Okay.
Scrooge should have a strong lead actor. But
Yeah.
outside of your lead, what do you have to offer the audience? I have the Muppets. I have the Muppets. I have one of the most iconic. I have
Well,
the I
mine
have the
has a
most
lot
iconic
of celebrity
cast of characters.
cameos in the background.
So do the Muppets.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
do you need
nature
that
of
to
Muppets.
carry your
And
story?
we're out of time. Let's go to 30-second conclusions. I don't think we've started with Kim for conclusions either, have
No, we haven't.
So we'll start
Ladies
with
first.
Kim, and then we'll go to Cole and finish with Nick.
Okay, so I believe Scrooge is the best adaptation for A Christmas Carol due to its better balance of comedy, along with the idea that it is an adaptation. It's something that's more modern, it's set in a more recent time, and yet it still stays true to the message that was portrayed in the Charles Dickens novella. And I think that's what brings it together as a whole, is something that people can laugh at and enjoy at the same time and feel closer to their families for the holidays.
And Cole?
I believe the 2009 version is the best adaptation that there is. If you Google A Christmas Carol, it is the first one to pop up. And I don't know if that is because it is the newest one out there or not, but I believe that is because it is the most popular one, the one that is most talked about right now. And I think Jim Carrey does a magnificent job at playing that role and giving this dark side to the story. And yes, I enjoy it.
All right. And Nick?
The Muppets Christmas Carol is a movie that takes itself as seriously as it wants to take itself. It doesn't need to be dark and mysterious. It doesn't need to have Bill Murray. It just needs to be a strong adaptation of the Christmas Carol featuring one of the most beloved cast of characters to ever be created from one man. Again, and the most inspiring thing about it is that the Muppets don't take center stage. This movie rides on Michael Caine's performance and is only enhanced by the appearance of the Muppets.
Any facts to check, Vaughn?
Just one thing, Cole. When you said that this is the first one,
Second.
it's the first of these three that comes
Yes,
up,
okay.
but it's second
Yeah,
behind the
sorry.
1984 adaptation.
Is that George C. Scott's adaptation?
Yep.
Okay, I had my dates wrong.
Which is actually the real best version. So there are no winners today.
That's true,
That's
we all
our
lost.
episode.
You're the winner.
Yeah, I'm the winner. I knew that all along. I really didn't. Sorry to not tell you guys that. But, so let's see. For first place, I'm going to give it to the person who's in first place, which is, for this question, of best film/TV adaptation of A Christmas Carol, Nick. Second place, I'm going to give to Kim. Third place, Cole. So, Nick, I'm giving you first because I think you made a great balance, that there's not only the great point that there's a great balance between Michael Caine and the Muppets. So it brings both the gravitas of Michael Caine's Shakespearean training with the zaniness and the family friendliness of the Muppets to create an overall just quality product that's timeless through the ages. Kim, I think you made an excellent argument that Scrooge is a great adaptation for more modern audiences that keeps the kind of hackneyed, that's today's vocab word, hackneyed plot of A Christmas Carol relevant to even today's families. And then Cole, I just feel that Nick hit you hard with the kind of unsettling animation, and you didn't really work that hard to deny it. Jim Carrey, I believe, is a very strong actor. I do enjoy the movie very much, but just in terms of the movie that is most enjoyable and most iconic to a large swath of audiences, that's why I have to give it to Nick. So, to recap, first place Nick, second place Kim, third place Cole. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Cardinal Film Fights. I must say this is also my last episode of Cardinal Film Fights. ever. Next semester, I will be student teaching, so I will not be here at the wonderful campus at Ball State. But thank you to Nick, to everyone in Cardinal Film Fights for welcoming me and giving me this position. I have enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you to my viewers who have been with me, or if you haven't been with me, I understand that too, for just watching me, for tuning into this show. I will miss everyone involved in this production, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season.
You have been a fantastic host.
Thank you.
And I just want to conclude our episode today with a little speech. As is tradition for Cardinal Film Fights, the president usually does give some kind of speech at the end of both the Christmas episode and the final episode. So this is not my first Christmas episode as a member of Cardinal Film Fights. This is my third with this club as a host, as a vice president, and a debater, and now a president. I've watched this club grow as I've grown here at Ball State. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Stuart Elmore all those years ago inviting me to be a member. I certainly would not have been president if not for my fellow members who I want to recognize now. My vice president, Vaughn Storm, the former director of photography, Morgan Fuller, the current director of photography, Daniel Clements, the former marketing directors, Tyler Moore and Olivia Henderson, my fantastic audio engineer, Isaac Andrews, my post-audio editor and future vice president of Cardinal Film Fights, I would like to say, Noah Allen, production assistant and future president of Cardinal Film Fights, Paige Hopner, and production assistant Hunter Schaefer, and of course, our wonderful and esteemed host, Mark Rollins. This club is more than just a place where creative artists can meet and plan out our episodes. It's a family that grows and shrinks and grows again each year. The first generation of club members has graduated or have moved on from this show. Stuart, Morgan, Tyler, Ben Thatcher, Dylan Query, and Allison Griffith, Bryson Marsh, and Colin Stites. The second generation, myself, Vaughn, Isaac, will be graduating in the spring or moving on, as Mark will, with his taking on the noble profession of being a teacher for future theater students and actors and actresses. Soon the third generation will carry on this great tradition of Cardinal Film Fights, and this year we welcome the fourth generation of Cardinal Film Fights members. Our excellent marketing director, Haley Parnell, our behind-the-scenes photographer, Connor Fletterer, sorry, I had that right at the beginning. Our excellent production assistants, Justin Branson, Nathan Marks, and Cameron Rogers. All members of this organization, past and present, are such wonderful people, and I would consider them all to be lifelong friends, mentors, and fellow artists. What the audience never sees is the immense amount of work that these people put into planning and releasing these episodes, and to all members, past and present, and hopefully future, I would like to say thank you to your hard work, your dedication, and the friendship you have shown this club. But our family doesn't extend just beyond this small collective group of friends that we have made here. Our wonderful faculty advisor, Catherine Gardner, has been a mentor to me, to Stuart, and to all of us here. Our debaters tonight, Cole Callahan, has been my excellent producer for the documentary that I've been working on this whole semester, and has been a steady right-hand man. My wonderful girlfriend to my left, Kimberly Holbrook, has been an inspiration to me and my rock. We have had debaters from all focuses of the School of Telecommunications, promotions, video, audio, and the College of CCIM. And I would like to thank the College of CCIM for providing us the studio to film this show. We've had debaters from other majors and programs here at this truly wonderful institution of Ball State University. But our club's family is not complete without you, the viewer. And some of you have been watching this club for 2 years now, since our first episode when we debated what was the best animation show, and Colin and Stuart and Morgan talked about Avatar. And others of you have only just started joining us maybe this episode. But I would like to say thank you so much to each and every one of you. You are what makes this club special, and Cardinal Film Fights could not exist without you. Normally when I'm on this show, I like to wish everyone to have a great rest of their lives. But tonight, on my final Christmas episode and Mark's, as a member of this club, I would like to wish everyone a joyous holiday season. Spread the love and cheer to everyone you greet. Enjoy the company of friends and family alike. But most of all, have a happy Hanukkah, a happy Kwanzaa, a wonderful Las Posadas, a beautiful Diwali, a safe Chinese New Year, and a happy holidays and a Merry Christmas. Good night.